Hello again, happy Friday. It's Miss Doyle here again. It is March 20th, so we're off to our first weekend. Actually our first full week of being away from school, so I hope things are starting to settle in, things are starting to feel more comfortable, and we're getting lots of extra snuggles, extra love, and extra family time, because that's definitely what's important here too. So okay, so this time we are going to work on mental subtraction. So when we were doing the lesson on Wednesday, we were just subtracting. We were literally just subtracting to get into the pattern of finding the difference. Okay, so that's kind of what we're going to do here. So same thing as when we did the adding on Monday, we are doing the subtracting in the same way. So we look in the ones, we have a 9 and we have a 2. So if we subtract 2 from 9, we know that there is 7 in the ones, and we're left with the 20 that is over there. So 27, okay? So we were looking at the ones numbers. Here we have a 5 minus a 4, so we know that we can go down to a 1, and then the 6 stays. Same thing here, 9 minus 7 is 2, and then we just add the 7 on the front, so we have 72, okay? And all of these are gonna work that way too, because the number in the first subtraction is bigger than the number that's following in the ones. So now we're going to look at changing it to a 10. The last time we did this, we turned it into a 10, but this was a plus sign here. So now we're doing the exact opposite. So we're still doing the same thing where we take the 9 and make it a 10, but instead of adding 10, we just go down 10. So we went down to 43. The difference between 9 and 10 is just 1. So we're going to take the number we got, 43, and remember, we subtracted 1 extra off because it was 9, but we got rid of 1 extra. So we have to add that back on because we minused it off. So we have 44. So 53 minus 9 is 44. That is a way to do it mentally in your head. There are many ways to subtract 9 from 53. They can do it top to bottom if they're not understanding, if there's a more comfortable way, but what we want them to learn is that there is ways that our brain can kind of process it without having to write it all out. So 6 could become 10, making 74, 64. And then we take that 64, we know we've subtracted 4 extras off because 6 to 10, there's 4 in between there. And we would just add those back on because we subtracted way too many off. So then in our brain, we would do 64 plus 4, making it 68. So all of these steps are just what your brain is doing as you're going through each problem. It's not actually mental math because you're writing it out, but it's giving you the steps to what your brain would do if you were just going to do it inside your head. So if you were going to look at all of this without the steps, you would just say 53 minus 10 is 43. I know I got to add 1 back on because the difference between that 9 and 10 is 1, so I would just go back up to 44. Okay, that's all this is doing, and I know sometimes it gets confusing because it's like, why do we have to do all of this? But basically what we were doing is just writing out what your brain was actually processing and thinking through that, making the 10. Okay, so as the numbers get bigger, and we get to 3-digit numbers minus 2-digit, okay, we can do the same thing. Okay, so we have a 9, 92, and a 30. We can take 30 from 92 without any regrouping, so then we can just do 92 minus 30 is 62. And that's basically what they're saying here. So you're still going to have the 492 minus 30, and it's going to bring you down to 462. All you did was take that 9 and that 3, they were in the tens place, and subtracted them. The other numbers, the 4 and the 2 and the 0 stayed the same because they were in the hundreds and the ones place. We were just looking at the tens place because that's where we were minusing off 3 tens. So the 9 became a 6 in the tens. Okay, so I minused off 30.